What's up, YouTube? How's everybody doing? This is your boy Reg here, about to do one of my next rock reviews and everything. Excuse me. Okay. I'm about to do tonight is the Rolling Stones Let It Bleed album, released in 1969 on Decca on the UK, London, US. I've already reviewed Beggar's Banquet and Tattoo You, so I am basically going to review like all the album, well, their classic period and Goat's Head Soup, in case you guys didn't know. So yeah, continuing with the way I like to evaluate artists' discographies and shit, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so enough of me rambling. There was 2 singles released from this album, but they were only released in Japan only. And those were Let It Bleed and You Got the Silver. But a lot of people think Gimme Shelter was a single. That was not a single, it was just a song, a popular song throughout, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Alright, so let's see where we at. After Beggar's Banquet was released, they did the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus. And it was a dope concert which was featured The Who, John Lennon, Yoko Ono, Jethro Tull, and so on and so on. Although despite the good reviews it gotten, it was not released in DVD until 2004 and stuff like that. Yeah, but it was officially released in '96. Many people thought that they kept it in shelves because The Who stole the show from that concert, you know what I'm saying? And it was also that year and a little next year that Brian Jones' drug problems were getting the best of him, so I will get into that after. And so what happened? So basically you didn't really hear that much of him on this album, besides like a few songs. And so basically, while the on July 3rd, 1969, Brian Jones was found dead in his swimming pool. You know, it's like they say it was like an accidental drowning, but there's like a lot of mysterious circumstances regarding his death and things of that nature. So that same year, while they were about to perform at a free concert, they hooked up with this guy named Mick Taylor. And you guys should know how much I love Mick Taylor. I mentioned him a couple of times throughout the video. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so Mick, like I said before, like this album, it's Brian Jones's last appearances, but Mick Taylor did a few songs, and it wasn't until Sticky Fingers where his presence would be fully like there with the Stones. But that more on that in the next review. Alright, so we've talked about that, and so by that time they were working on Let It Bleed and everything like that. By that time they were working on Let It Bleed. What was I about to say? Yeah, so all that, and then this album was released. Okay, so let's get inside the booklet. So here's the booklet. I like the little cake kind of thingamajig with the record player. Very dope, very dope. Album cover. Yeah, just songs, credits, all that good stuff. Okay. A couple things to add on. This album was actually supposed to have been released on July 1969 and everything like that. But you know, with all the stuff the Stones were going through, you know, Brian Jones' death, trying to find a new guitarist, no, all that shit going on and shit like that. So instead of releasing Let It Bleed originally that month, they dropped the single Honky Tonk Woman. Just to keep the fans asking for more and shit like that. Right. And also, what else about this album? This is actually the last Rolling Stones album to have been released on mono and shit like that. And so, I'm gonna go off topic for my music heads and shit like that. If you're a music head, get as many mono copies of your favorite vinyl records as you can, because of the fact, like, mono, when you play something that's mono, it's like the sound is like gritty, the sound is dirty and shit like that, as opposed to playing stereo. Well, I don't mind stereo that much, but sometimes if you play like something stereo, it sounds digitalized, a lot digitalized and shit like that. And I have like a few complaints when I have some vinyls and shit like that, but I'm gonna save that topic for a different day. So yeah. And so another thing too about this whole album was, like, despite it's very dark, the album, and a lot of people kind of link this whole album to the whole Altamont fiasco that happened and shit like that. And I will talk more about that, the Sticky Fingers, because that concert happened like days after this album was released. So, all right. Okay, so let's see how many songs we got. We got about, not one, we don't got two, we have about 9 songs. So let's get into it. Track number 1, Give Me Shelter. You guys should know about that song. That's like one of the Rolling Stones' best songs ever. I love that build up and shit like that. And yeah. Like, I love the build up. Like, it's like one of the most political songs, Oh, I forgot to talk about the personnel, but I'm gonna talk about that way after I do this song, shit like that. So, cause like, according to Mick Jagger, he actually written this song. I mean, not Mick Jagger. Keith Richards actually worked on the opening riff while in London and stuff like that. So, and that's gotta be one of my favorite Keith Richards like riffs he's ever done. No, the singer, it's a singer named Mary Clayton. She does that, oh, is that the sound? That shit. Like, she stole the whole show. Like, her vocal presence just did it for me on that song. I mean, the Rolling Stones did that thing, but that could have just been her song by herself, And now, as for the personnel, while Mary Clayton was on co-lead vocals, Ian Stewart, who did a lot of songs with the Rolling Stones, you might as well call him a member up to this point, was on piano. Nicky Hopkins was on piano a couple songs. Ry Cooder was a mandolin. Bobby Keys on the tenor sax. Jimmy Miller produced this, percussion, drums, tambourine. A couple other people. The London Block Choir. Of course, they were on You Can't Always Get What You Want. So, next song, Love in Vain. Another interesting trivia too. There has been some sources that her vocal press was so good that she actually got a miscarriage, and many people think it was due to the fact of the way she was singing this song. So it is what it is. Then we have Love in Vain. Yeah. Then we got Love in Vain, which is a Robert Johnson cover. This has got to be one of the most bluesiest songs they've ever done. And I've always loved the fact that the Rolling Stones, every time they created, always paid homage to blues artists like Howlin' Wolf, Robert Johnson, B.B. King, so on and so on. You're like, yeah. I think Robert Johnson was like their biggest influence. I think like when it came to like his guitar play, I think he influenced Keith Richards a lot. But yeah, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. All right, and track number 3. Track number 3 is Country Honk. Basically a country version of Honky Tonk Woman. Believe it or not, this was actually the original concept for Honky Tonk Woman. It was originally supposed to be a country song. When it comes to the Rolling Stones, when they do country, I'm not really a big fan like that. But this one's an exception and shit like that. This one's an exception. And believe it or not, this was the only song that Keith Richards did not perform electric guitar on the album. So yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting too. Track number 4, Live With Me. Whew. That has got to be like one of the most rawest songs they've ever done. Like, that was actually the first song they've done with Mick Taylor too. Matter of fact, that song's playing in the background. I'm about to turn that up right quick. Like, this song was this very good song right here. Mick Jagger did his thing on this song. He stole the whole show. But I gotta give credit where credit's due, because the chemistry between Mick Taylor and Keith Richards on this song, where they were trading the licks and shit like that. I mean, and that's another thing I loved about when Mick Taylor fucking joined the group and shit. Like, he just gave Keith Richards a run for his money and shit. And I'm not trying to talk shit about Keith Richards, you know. I mean, he's obviously one of the greatest guitarists of all time, both him and Mick Taylor. But when Mick Taylor joined the group, it was just like that last puzzle piece and shit like that. But yeah, more on that when I talk about Sticky Fingers, because I'm gonna. Next song is Let It Bleed. This is Ian Stewart's. He played piano on this track, and Bill Wyman actually played the auto harp and shit like that. Pretty alright song, you know. Then we got Midnight Rambler. I kind of consider this song one of the most underrated storytelling songs, because it tells a story about this guy named Albert DeSalvo, and he just confessed to being like this Boston Strangler and shit like that. And yeah, confessed to being Boston Strangler, and yeah, very crazy and shit like that. And to be bluntly with you, this was like the closest the Who ever came to like perform like an opera, a rock opera, like the Who would have done, like with Tommy and Quadrophenia and so on and so on. Like, very dope song right here. Yeah, very dope song. This was almost my favorite song off this whole album, almost. Now you got The Silver. This was the first Rolling Stones song to feature Keith Richards actually singing and things of that nature. And this is actually the first solo he's actually ever done, because he actually shares lead vocals on songs like Something Happened to Me Yesterday from the Between the Buttons album. I need to get my hands on that album. And of course, Salt of the Earth when Beggar's Banquet. And he had actually written that song about his ex-girlfriend and shit like that. And yeah. I mean, yeah, very cool song. You got the silver and everything. Brian Jones played an auto harp on that song, like probably the last contribution he has ever done with the song. So yeah, very interesting song. What else about the song? Oh, and another thing about the song too, like the fact that okay, there was like a lot of electric riffs treated with reverse echo near the beginning of each verse and stuff like that. That way they get that cool sound and shit. Then we have Monkey Man. That's actually a tribute to Italian pop artist Mario Schifano and stuff like that. And they actually met him during the set of his movie Humano Non Humano, which is basically human, not human in Spanish. Very cool song. I love the instrumentation on that song. And the last song, You Can't Always Get What You Want. Probably my favorite song off this album. Like, it's just talking about like all the shit that was happening around that time, late 60s. And it talks about one's urge to be desired or be needed and stuff like that. I loved, I gotta be real too. When I first heard the song, I did not like the choir like on the song too. Cause I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like it was just, I never really could picture the Rolling Stones with a choir and shit. But then over the years, it grew on me, grew on me, grew on me. And I just got like the cultural importance of that song too. And also, yeah, and this was actually like, I believe, a B-side to Honky Tonk Woman. Alright, and that's all the songs of this album. Okay, overall, very good album. Classic rock album right here. They were really finding their groove. They found their groove. I feel like they did find their groove with the Banquet Banquet album. You know, after the whole psychedelic flotation. But this was the album that really just solidified everything. Like, this is them saying real rock is going to take ourselves seriously and shit of that nature. And it's actually like the most political album. Like, they were talking about like drugs, racism, talking about a lot of shit that was very taboo at that time and stuff, you know? And like, I know like I kind of do praise Mick Taylor a lot. And here's the thing. I do not dislike Brian Jones. Just to let that shit known right now. But I was mostly raised on Mick Taylor's tenure of the group and shit like that. Because the first Rolling Stones album I've listened to was Sticky Fingers. So yeah. Wait, what's Sticky Fingers? Either Sticky Fingers or Exile, but yeah. But other than that, must have in your collection. This album's still in print to this day, so that should tell you something. But I do need to find that mono version. I don't care how long it will take. I'm gonna find that version. But that's all the time I have. Stay tuned for more. Peace.